Adolf Hitler had a vision of the world so complete that he even planned what the roads would look like. Vast, sweeping autobahns populated by teeming masses of scuttling people, swarming like insects or even beetles. Not even Hollywood could conjure up a more graphic image, Hitler inspired by beetles. But that's exactly what he recommended Ferdinand Porsche to do when he ordered the design of his People's Wagon. Look to the streamlining of the Beetle. The Beetle was probably the first European concept car, although originally it was called the KDF wagon, which translates to mean strength through joy. Who could have known it would take the world by storm? Hitler was reportedly fairly specific in the criteria. It had to have a top speed of 62 miles an hour, do 42 mpg, and should cost no more than £85. It wasn't an immediate success. The enforced payment scheme meant you only got your car after the final installment. The stipulation that the car should carry 2 adults and 3 children was altered to 3 men and a machine gun with the advent of World War II. After the war and a brief stint under British control, the KDF wagon was renamed Volkswagen and luckily returned to German ownership. The British thought it was a joke, and had it remained in their domain, it would probably have floundered along with the rest of the British car industry. Meanwhile, in Ireland, there was one man who wasn't laughing. His name, Stephen O'Flaherty, and in 1949 he founded Motor Distributors Limited. O'Flaherty disagreed with Ford Motors that the car wasn't worth a damn, and he secured the franchise to build the first Beetle outside Germany.
The first Beetle was assembled in a tram shed that is now Ballsbridge Motors. And around 1954, the premises that is now Motor Distributors on the Naas Road was acquired by Stephen O'Flaherty, where he established a fully fledged assembly operation here. Approximately 300 people were employed through the assembly process. And it was a very big operation to put this plant here. But this plant produced cars to the same standard as existed in Germany. In 1950, we only registered about 46 cars. By the time this plant was fully operational, there was an average of 5,000 cars per annum being produced here. As Stephen O'Flaherty saw the true potential in the car, a car for the people that was going to be reliable, was going to be easy to run and maintain, and also was quite cheap.
For years, Volkswagen was a one-car company, and what a car. By 1973, the 16 millionth Beetle rolled off the assembly line, claiming the world's most popular record held by the Model T Ford. But progress demands change.
At that stage, the Beetle finished as a model from Volkswagen. It was superseded by the Volkswagen Golf, and it wasn't economically viable for us to produce the Golf here in Ireland, so regrettably the end of the Beetle days were circa 1977. It was in Ireland, in Shelburne Road, that the first Beetle was assembled or produced outside of the parent factory in Germany, and that gives us a very special place in Volkswagen history, and that's what we celebrate this year in the year 2000, 50 years later.
But the love bug captured our hearts, and production has moved underground.
I was brought to see Herbie when I was 3. Ever since then I wanted a Beetle. The cars that you see here would be cars that nobody else would want in the beginning. They'd be cars that would be going to the crusher or going to the scrapyard. And what I do is keep taking them and buying them and putting them away and then restoring them like a little production line, keep building them.
Well, I've noticed just some of the number plates. There's one there with a 97D on it. How does that work?
They still make them in Mexico and they turn out 600 a day. They also make all the parts for the ones that we see here.
So it's an old Beetle, new Beetle from Mexico.
Yes,
They're still building
the factory,
them?
They still build them.
So what's the smallest amount of Beetle I could come to you with that you'd be able to restore?
Basically, if you bring us a chassis or a car that no one else wants, that has plenty of holes in it, that's very, very rusty, we can make it into what you see.
1992 saw the 21st millionth Beetle establish a new automobile production record. With plants worldwide, who knows how many exist today. The Beetle has such a rare staying power. What other 60-something-year-old car is still being built as new? The original Beetle obviously hasn't finished yet, but where does that leave the new Beetle? The new Beetle is very like the old Beetle in that there's nothing like it on the road, it's instantly recognizable, and it is lovably charming. You'll probably hear lots of people saying, oh, but it's not the same. But in 30 years' time, this will be one millennium bug we'll want to have around. By then, it will have the same cult status and be an icon for Generation Next.